This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Broadcasting live from the Capital OTB studios, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America on this Sunday morning, a couple of weeks away from a possible Triple Crown, another one in the 2010s, as it were, and maybe we'll bunch them up like we did back in the 70s. We'll see how that works out with Justify in a couple of weeks. That will continue to be the story of horse racing, but lots of great stakes action yesterday otherwise across the country. Seth Merrow, Sully Crotty. Sully and I will recap some of that stakes action. We'll do a little handicapping as well for this Sunday afternoon. Also want to thank our friends at Woodbine for their sponsorship. Woodbine, pick, bet, and cheer on world-class horse racing north of the border. Again, we thank them for their sponsorship. At the top of the show, I thought we would, as the season is pretty much just underway out in the Chicago area, we talk a little bit of Arlington and give folks a heads up on what to watch for as the season progresses. And we reached out to Howard Sudbury out at Arlington. Good morning, Howard.
Good morning. How you doing, Seth and Sully?
Very good. Happy to have you on board to talk a little Arlington. I love the Arlington racing product. Great turf racing out there, obviously, a little bit later this summer with the Million and other great action. We'll also talk a little bit about yesterday's stakes race, which was on the turf as well. But before we do that, as I was kind of searching out things about Arlington over the past day, this is interesting because I love it when horse racing and media meet, and out there at Arlington, you and your co-host Alyssa Ali do a little weekly recap, I guess, and preview of the action at Arlington on the NBC Sports affiliate out there.
We do. A few years ago, I'm a broadcaster. That's what I did for 25 years. So I bring that and was a horse player. I was a full-time broadcaster and almost full-time horse player. So anyway, I worked I was a sportscaster at Channel 2 in Chicago for 25 years before I came here. And so Alyssa and I did a radio show on ESPN 1000 a few years ago for 2 or 3 years in a row, and we just wondered if we could switch it to television and make it like a lot of the shows you see, like like Mike and Mike used to do, and kind of do radio on TV that didn't take a lot of production. And it's evolved. We have a live guest every morning that we can get from really all walks of life. We have a lot of sports celebrities that come out to Arlington that have been on. Joel Quenneville, the host of the coach of the Blackhawks. Mike Ditka comes on. We'll have our leading jockey here, any visiting jockey. We had Mike Smith on the week after he won the Derby. So it's 11 o'clock on NBC Sports Chicago, and we have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, as I say, it's always nice to get some more mainstream coverage for horse racing, so it's great that you guys do that out in their area. Also, want to talk a little bit about the season and some of the highlights of the season, give people a feel for that, but I wanted to go back a couple of weeks because it seems like Mother's Day has become a pretty big day at some of the various tracks around the country, but I picked up your social media and talking to people at Arlington in years past. That's a big day out there, and some of the pictures I pulled up, the jockeys handing out roses to the moms on Mother's Day a couple of weeks ago. Nice day out at Arlington?
Oh, it was a great day. The weather was awful, and it was really a tribute to the popularity of the day here, of how many people that we drew. You know, our 5 biggest days, so we start off with a bang. We open on a Friday before the Kentucky Derby. Derby Day has become huge. We had a huge crowd for Derby this year. We were almost 28,000. Then the next week we have Mother's Day, and then our other big days are our fireworks show, Father's Day, and Million Day. So those are the 5 biggest days. But Mother's Day, we had a great crowd, and I tell you, it's a tribute. We got really a cool jockey colony here. They come up and take time in the morning, and they're handed out roses. And when the people come in, they just love to get their picture made with the jockeys with their silks on. And finally, I said, let's cut them loose. They got to go get ready for work. And they didn't want to go. They said, we're having a ball. I said, we got nothing to do right now. So they stayed up there extra time. So you're right. Mother's Day is traditionally a big day out here. And it's, if you think about it, you're talking about getting mainstream people involved. It's fun. You can take mom out to brunch anytime. But, you can't take her to brunch and let her make some money at the same time.
That's right.
Yeah.
You go to IHOP, you're not walking out with money.
Exactly. You have no chance. You take her to a brunch, and then you go shopping, or whatever you do with her. You're going to come home with less money. You're guaranteed to lose money. Here, you might make some.
Yeah, that's a great point. And again, we were looking at some of the shots there and the jockey colony handing out the roses, so it's nice to see. You alluded to it earlier. Derby Day was a big day for you, and I'm always curious at the various venues around the country. How did Preakness Day turn out? And I'm imagining you have to be anticipating a big day a couple of weeks with the Triple Crown on the line.
Yeah, Preakness Day did real well here. It's unfortunate. Our handle was really good that day. We had a lot of betting. And unfortunately for races, there's so much out there in the simulcast world for the real horse players. And, on Derby Day or Preakness Day, a lot of players will lock in on the track in which the Triple Crown race is being run. Well, with it being, I don't know if this was the reason, but it was so sloppy out there, races off the turf. We had a beautiful day, so we had big handle that day. A lot of interest, obviously. And then, Belmont, we have a VIP party for Belmont that we started on Derby, and then we carried it over to Preakness and Belmont, where people can get an all-inclusive package, and that's grown in popularity. And, on all these Triple Crown days, and you see it at other tracks, it's so cool to see people coming out here now dressed up, and, the women in their dresses and guys, in their Derby attire and bow ties and fedoras, and it's really cool to see how, and they're a younger crowd too. So, so many people in the business are pessimistic, but I'm not at all. I'm optimistic about the future. I know here at Arlington, they pour through the gates and they have a great time.
And you talked about the jockeys kind of hanging around on Mother's Day, and that's one of the unique things about our sport. We're just down the road from Saratoga. And what other sport can you get up close and personal with the participants like you can the jockeys at Arlington on Mother's Day, but really up at Saratoga to watch the kids come out with their programs and try to get the autographs from the jockeys on the way to and from the paddock, from the winner's circle and then to the paddock. That's a nice part about our sport.
Oh, that is really cool. And like I said, when you've got a jockey colony like we have here that love to engage with the fans, that makes it that much better. But even our outriders will take their horse up to the fence and let it stick its head over the rail, and kids get to pet them. So there are so many ways that people can get up close to the stars in the sport. Crowd around the paddock and see the beautiful looking horses. So to me, there's nothing like a day at the races. Nothing like it. And I've never taken anybody to the racetrack here that left and said, I was bored. I didn't like that. They all want to come back as soon as they can.
Yeah, very similar up here at Saratoga. I try to bring new people to the track as well. Arlington is a beautiful facility, but I've only seen it by television. It's on my list. I got to check that one off. I have to get out there at some point. But, mentioning the jockeys, a perfect lead-in, because I was looking on Equibase yesterday at the leaderboard on the human side, jockeys and trainers. And I guess you can say the more things change, the more they stay the same, because the leaders from last year, it's early, granted, but Jose Valdivia and Larry Ravelli back at the top of the respective leaderboards. But just give us a heads up for folks who are going to jump in as the season progresses, some trainers and jocks to keep an eye on, perhaps.
Well, I think that I tell you one trainer I want to mention right off the bat, and that's Jimmy Gulick. He's been around here for years, and he won 5 out of his first 6 races.
Ooh.
And then he went into a slump. He's 5 for 7 now. Jimmy's a really good horseman. I don't know how many horses he has or the amount of starts he'll have, but he's got them ready to go. We've got Steve Manley has been here for the last few years. He's an underrated guy. I think that he does a great job. Mike Stidham still keeps a string here. We've got Hugh Robertson, Roger Brueggemann from Midwest Thoroughbred.
Oh, sure.
Midwest is one of the top owners in the country. Roger is back with, he's got 30 or 35 here. Chris Block, Team Block is, they are, one of the leaders in the state of Illinois. I mean, David Block owns it, and they breed a lot of horses here in Illinois. So we've got a good bunch of trainers in here. Jockeys, we've had 2 milestones already. Yesterday, C.H. Marquez won his 3,000th career race, so we gave him the Gatorade bath and the champagne soaking out there. And the day before, Julio Felix, who's a really solid rider too and a great guy, he won his 3,000. So we've had some milestones already.
Just want to mention also, obviously Illinois bred race is a big part of racing out there. And of course, the Pizza Man was one of the big Illinois breds who had an ownership group that does very well out in Chicago too.
Yeah, that was the one I just mentioned.
Yeah.
Midwest Thoroughbreds, Richard and Karen Papis, and Roger Brueggemann was the trainer. And that was one of the great thrills. And if you ever have a chance, I mean, go back to the replay, listen to the call. I get chills thinking about it. About mid-stretch, the Pizza Man started making his move. And, early on in his career, he was a nice horse. He was a good horse. He won an Illinois bred race, the Black Tie Affair. I think he won it by a neck. It was, $100,000 state bred race. And then he just kept getting better and better and better. So he earned the shot to get the $1 million. So he makes his move on the turn, and mid-stretch, it becomes apparent he's going to win, and John Dooley says, and Chicago is about to erupt. And the crowd did erupt, and I've never seen a scene quite like it. It was an emotional moment for the connections, and that had put so much into the game, that they're Illinois bred, actually won the Arlington Million and beat the European invaders that are such great horses, and beat them all. And a cool thing about that is that Richard Papis of Midwest Thoroughbreds told me that he's sending Work All Week, who won the Breeders' Cup Sprint, another Illinois bred, so a Breeders' Cup winner, and the Pizza Man here to Arlington to be in the barn there, to be,
nice.
I don't know if it'd be pony horses or what, but they like being around the racetrack, so they're going to be both back here where they want to be.
Just looking towards the Arlington Million here, and obviously a lot of connections from out of town come in the race and that, but what are some prep races that you could keep an eye on throughout the meet that kind of lean towards the Arlington Million?
Well, our second biggest racing day, we call it the Ride to the Million, and it is on July 7th this year. And we have 4 grade 3s, and a lot of them will run in there. The Modesty is then, that's prep for the Beverly D. A couple prep races for the Arlington Million also, so you see a lot of the horses that you'll see on Million Day, which is this year on the 11th of August. And, Beach Patrol, he won it last year by a jump. He's still running. He ran, so I would assume that they're pointing him back here. Saul Kuhlman and his group, they did the O'Daly Double last year. They won the Beverly D. They go back to the paddock to saddle for the Million, and they win the Million. So it was quite a day. I'm sure they can't wait to get back here. And they were part of the ownership group that won our stake yesterday, the Arlington Classic. But that's the biggest prep day for it. mentioning Beach Patrol. Like I said, he got beat, ran second in the Old Forester on Derby Day down at Churchill, so it looks like he's in pretty good form right now, too. No horse has ever won the million back-to-back, by the way.
Oh, that makes this a little bit interesting if Beach Patrol does show up. You alluded to it a moment ago, and let's go back and take a look. Arlington Classic was the feature yesterday, so a good chance to kind of recap that Grade 3 event, $100,000 up for grabs. These are 3-year-olds going a mile and a 16th on the turf. I say it often, particularly when these races come up. I love this subdivision of 3-year-olds on the turf. I think it's become very competitive. There's a lot of opportunities around the country, and it's just fun to watch and see how it progresses through this summer. It was the favorite. We're watching the stretch drive here. Number 4, Easy Mosh, 1-2 favorite. And it's Brad Cox's world, and we're just all living in it. I think he has, over the past year, become a guy that has really hit everybody's radar, and he got it done yesterday with the aforementioned Jose Valdivia on board. What were your impressions of the Arlington Classic yesterday?
Well, it was a good race. Now, I took a shot at a price and picked the horse that ran a really good second at 8-1, Pont de Garde, who's trained by Ignacio Correas, and ran a really big race and tested the winner, but the winner was 1-2. But at least our racing analyst Noel Michaels picked the favorite, so we combined for the exacta. But it was a good race. Yeah, I loved it. I mean, the favorite sat just off the pace late in their second or third, and then made his move. And yeah, Brad Cox does a great job. He's got horses all over the place, and he won this race last year with Cowboy Culture.
Oh, sure.
So I would imagine we'll see him every year now, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would think. When they get into a little rhythm like that, they tend to show up and take their shots again. And Easy Moss, he'll be fun to watch in this subdivision. I would imagine Secretariat might be on his radar, in fact. But he went to the turf last time down at the fairgrounds. That was the first turf start in 8 career starts. He's now 2 for 2 on the turf. So you'd think Easy Mosh has a little bit of a turf career ahead throughout the summer. Howard, let's get some ideas for this afternoon as well. You and Alyssa Ali do some selections, and I see your selections are available. People can pull them up on the website, and you're looking at the 8th race today, a B-condition claimer in race 8 at Arlington, 6 furlongs to trip. First, what's the weather look like out your way this afternoon?
Beautiful day. It's just kind of hot, but sun shines out, so it couldn't be much better. And it's supposed to be real nice tomorrow too, and we deserve it because wow, we had a rough spring.
We're right there with you, and we are welcoming the nice weather.
Yeah,
it was a long, hard winter and spring as well. What do you like in the 8th?
Well, I find it to be, I don't care if it's the Belmont or if it's a 62.5 claimer, as long as I can cash a ticket. That's the kind of guy I am. A race is a race, and this is a good one. It's got 11 horses in it right now, pre-scratch. The horse on the outside, Sully Vin's GG, just ran a huge race. It's really the speed of the speed, just got beat a neck last time, and I would imagine that she's going to be a pretty heavy favorite in here. But I think that there are a couple of horses in here that can give her a little competition early on and set it up. So I'm going to go right now is look the other way, the 2 for Ravelli and Valdivia. Horse has a versatile style. I think can just stalk if she wants to. Valdivia will know what to do. On the all-weather track, she's 5 out of 6 in the money. And here at Arlington, she's run 4 times with 2 wins and 2/3, so that's not a concern. She's been off a little bit. She's been off since December, but Ravelli, he brings them ready to go. That's one of the reasons, really, for his success, too, is that Larry doesn't do a lot of racing during the winter. He rests him up, and then he starts training him, and he gets ready to come out here firing. So he really concentrates on this. He's got great ownership with Vince Foglia, who's a great guy. He's got Patricia's Hope is his stable name. So I'm going to look the other way to lay off the pace and make a move and maybe run down that favorite.
I like it. Howard, we appreciate the visit this morning, and again, a little preview of the meet ahead, and so hopefully we'll have a chance to talk again as the summer progresses.
I hope so. Hey, one more thing on that race real quickly.
Okay.
I like to play supers. I think that's really, and you're going to tear up a lot of tickets because they're hard to hit. And you got to hit an all in there usually, or because you're trying to hit a 40-to-1 shot. But there are two horses, the $4 Million Highway and Kissin' Rosie, that are going to be closing like crazy. And I think that one of them will run third or fourth. So I'm going to build some supers around who I like on top, and then try and get one of these to come in there, and then stick it all in there, and hope that there's a 60-to-1 shot that runs third, and one of these runs fourth.
So the 4 and the 7 in the mix. But the nice thing about the super, you can get in for a dime.
Yes, you can. You can. And if when you put it all, it gets a little more expensive. But, I mean, if you can narrow it down a little bit, which is dangerous, because as soon as you do that, like I said, the 80-to-1 shot hits the board. But you can do a couple for a dime. That allows you to put it all in there. And then if you want to sweeten it up and eliminate some horses and do a couple for $1, you could do it without putting a fortune into the race, and they can pay anything.
Absolutely. I'm not a super guy myself, but I know when they went to the dime increment, just walking around our OTB parlors, a lot of people like to jump in for that dime, and certainly if you get it right with one of those big prices in the third or the fourth slot, it can, even for the dime, you can get your money's worth out of that. Howard, again, appreciate the visit. Good luck this afternoon, and as I say, we'll talk again.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Enjoyed talking to you.
Howard Sudbury from Arlington Park. All right, we'll take a break. There was some good stakes action yesterday,
Yep.
so we'll recap some of that, and we'll also take a look at some action this afternoon as well. Stay tuned.
Dirty windows? Don't do it yourself. Call Clean Image, your window cleaning professionals, and enhance the look of your business or home without the worry. Clean Image pledges nothing less than 100% customer satisfaction. It's guaranteed. Homes, offices, bed and breakfast, vacation homes, and more. Clean Image has cleaned them all. Carpet and floor cleaning, pressure washing, and janitorial services are also available. Call today, 446-1397. That's 446-1397. Online at clean-image.net.
You know and make better decisions, better choices, to know how to connect the dots. In horse racing, knowledge is a powerful tool, but not the only tool. Race results and replays, past performances and live streaming, wagering from all your digital devices. These too are important tools, and you'll find them all right here at Capital OTB. Capital OTB. Become a better horse player.
In a recent study of some of the top online wagering sites, Capital OTB won big in total player rewards, far surpassing some of the best-known wagering sites in America. While other rewards programs simply offer you points redeemable for gift cards, Capital OTB's rebates are paid to you in actual cash. Plus, Capital OTB gives you full and immediate access to your money. So if all you're getting now are points and gift cards, join Capital OTB Player Rewards today and get cash back. Visit CapitalOTBBet.com and sign up today.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Welcome back to Racing Across America on this Sunday morning. Seth Merrow, Sully Crotty, in taking a look at some of the action from yesterday. And again, it was a nice day. Monmouth had a nice day. Santa Anita had a nice day. And I wanted to pull up the stake yesterday from Belmont just because this horse is going to be a player in the 3-year-old turf division. I'm not sure, as they say, I like that 3-year-old turf subdivision. I'm not sure exactly where Guido fits into it because a little more of a sprinter. But down at Tampa, that was a mile race down at Tampa, the Gulfstream race, the Dania Beach, good second there. So those are 2-turn races.
Right.
I'll be interested to see what they do going forward this summer, whether they keep the horse more sprinting or do stretch out. It won't surprise me if they do stretch out and more enter that division. Certainly very talented. We'll watch the stretch run of the Paradise Creek yesterday, and Guido for Todd Pletcher. 2 wins, 2 seconds, and 4 career starts coming into this. Obviously very talented. Went off as the 45-cent to $1 favorite. And again, will be the number 5 horse here. Number 3, Curlin's Honor runs second. Number 4, Masked runs third, but as I say, the overwhelming favorite. Once he gets rolling in the stretch, gets it done. It's a gutsy little effort from the second place finisher, so the chart margin is only a neck, but I don't think he ever looked at that and really felt like once he made his move in the stretch, he was ever really going to be threatened. So as I say, now 3 wins and 5 career starts for Todd Pletcher and Zayat Stable Guidu. A player, but as I say, I will be interested to see exactly what they do, up at Saratoga if they go into some of those bigger 3-year-old turf stakes as we move through the summer, or stick with more of a sprint. Sprinting on the turf to me is a specialty, and this guy started with a couple of 5.5, 5 furlong. But as I say, the last 2 at a mile, and to me it's a little bit different at 7 furlongs that the race was yesterday as well. So I think this horse will be a player in that general 3-year-old turf division.
I agree. I do think this horse is going to be a big player. I actually like Curlin's Honor in there, who really I thought ran a good race, but obviously Johnny V again. I feel like we talk about him every Sunday in here. The beautiful thing about Belmont Park is they can run a mile route races on the turf at 1 turn. So if they want, they could stretch the horse out for later in the meet. They could do a longer distance and still do that 1 turn if the horse runs better at the 1 turn. So just see if the horse can handle distance, number 1. And looking at that replay, I think the horse had a lot left and definitely can handle the distance. So excited to see what's next here. Really nice horse for Zayas and Pletcher. And again, Johnny V is keep riding the way he's doing, and has had a great 2018, and we say it every Sunday when we're in here. Yeah,
it's you're throwing him and Mike Smith, these guys. It just goes to show it's the old crafty veteran angle. These guys, they've been around long enough that just the smarts can help them out quite a bit. All right, let's go over to Monmouth, which had a nice stakes card at Monmouth. What are we looking at? The 1, 2, 3, 4 stakes. The John Riley kicked off the stakes action yesterday at Monmouth. This was for state breds. Just a little $60,000 purse going 6 furlongs. But this one is interesting because as we pick it up in the stretch, it'll be the number 4 Chubbalicious, the close favorite at 9-5, but right behind, also at 9-5, is Brother Chubb, the 3 horse. So Chubbalicious gets the lead as the favorite, but a close-up second choice, number 3, Brother Chubb, goes by, wins by a chart margin of 2 lengths. And as the names might indicate, these are full siblings. That was kind of the fun angle of this race.
Yeah, it's nice when you get Jose Ortiz just to go to another track. He always makes an impact everywhere he goes. That was a really nice ride, and that really is interesting. They're 2 siblings there. Both ran a great race, and it's just nice it doesn't really matter what the purse money is at that level. If you get a stakes race under your resume and get a win, that just says a lot. And obviously, if you get Jose Ortiz in the irons again, it's going to be another nice trip for Brother Chubb, wherever this horse decides to go. But really nice effort there. Just watching the replay again, the horse, really nice move late in that race, and can definitely handle a little bit bigger of a stakes race.
Both by Hey Chubb out of Sassy Broad. Chubbalicious going into yesterday had won $560,000. Brother Chubb $300,000, a little over $300,000. So certainly a nice family there of New Jersey breds. And again, the siblings producing about a $16 exacta yesterday in the Riley. Bowling Spring, again, the purse only $75,000, but this was a nice full field, 10 horses of 3-year-old fillies on the grass going a mile and a 16th. We're going to watch the stretch run. It will be the number 6 Dark Artist at 6-1. Over the number 10, the Chad Brown favorite at even money, reversed the decision. And So High Society, the number 4 horse, also at 6-1, completing the trifecta. Dark Artist, I put Chad's horse on top, reversed the decision. It's Chad, it's Klarovich, had broken the maiden in the 2nd career start in pretty good fashion. And I think, given that this was only the 3rd career start, this was a pretty good effort from reverse the decision. But Dark Artist with a little more experience, 6 career starts going into yesterday, and clearly improved with the move to the turf. Had 1 down at Gulfstream pretty nicely for Jane Sabelli in the previous start. So I think now a couple of wins in 3 starts over the turf, you would think will be the future for Dark Artist. And in this subdivision of 3-year-old fillies on the turf. Both of these seem like potential players. And this was just, again, a little ungraded stake. So I think they still have to define themselves, how they'll fit into things going forward. But I think they both have kind of good potential.
Right. I think moving forward, both of them, as you said, they're going to be in some bigger races and run extremely well. And just watching the replay again there, it looked like Chad was going to go by. He's always, that's his specialty. He's closers on the turf, and he does a phenomenal job with them. And really looked like the horse was going to go by. Really nice job by McCarthy to hang on there. It's nice to see James and Belly again getting a nice stakes win. So I think both these horses are going to be extremely good players in this division, and I think can definitely go up to a graded company, definitely get more money in a stakes race than $80,000. So again, just watching, I'm surprised the 10 didn't go by there. Just it looked like a lot of horse there, and just a really nice ride by Dark Artist.
Jehoshaphat is a horse that moved to the turf 3 starts prior to yesterday and won, and seemed to have some potential going forward. Just kind of hasn't lived up to it in the 3 subsequent turf starts for Arnaud Delacour. Went off at 7-1 yesterday, but ran 7th in the field at 10. And as they say, kind of came out of that turf debut 3 starts prior with some promise, and just hasn't gotten it done. All right, the Salvatore Mile, also on the card yesterday at Monmouth Park, a Grade 3 event, $100,000 up for grabs. Going the mile, and this was just fun. I kicking myself because I left Paige McKenney out, and I really debated, but to put Paige McKenney in was going to be more of a sentimental kind of thing. I debated as I planned yesterday's Racing Across America. I wanted to reach out to Mary Epler, and I debated and eventually went another direction. And now I'm kicking myself. We'll definitely talk to Mary Epler at some point, because Paige McKenney is just so much fun. I thought Shaft of Life was the horse to beat, and did wind up to be the horse to beat, but got beaten by number 6, Paige McKenney. When he gets in gear, he just kind of grinds him down. Gets up past Shaft of Life, who runs second. Sunny Ridge runs third for Jason Service. But boy, this horse, 8 years old, and I'm just looking with the purse yesterday, did not surpass $2 million, but is right on the verge of having earned $2 million. And as I say, this one just a lot of fun. Paige McKenney gets it done yesterday in the Salvatore Mile.
You love seeing the old horses still win these stakes races, and this horse is an absolute grinder. Just watching the race, I did not think the horse was going to get there. I thought one of the favorites was going to get home. The 2, Shaft of Light, really thought was going to get home, but that horse is an absolute grinder. Not the best at trips either. Still found a way to get it done. So I like seeing the older horses winning some graded stakes races, and I think it's good for the sport. It's not all 2, 3, and 4-year-olds. So I like when the older horses get in to the winner circle in some stakes races.
Yeah, stories like this are always a lot of fun, and they're easy. They attract fans. They get a following, and just to see them do it. As I say, it would have been a little bit of a sentimental choice, but even at age 8, clearly has the talent to race. Back in February at Gulfstream, they shipped down there and took a little stakes race down there. Subsequently, followed up in a Grade 2 down at Gulfstream. Ran an okay 4th, but got it done yesterday at a nice $17 and change mutual, if you were a believer in Paige McKenney. And again, just a fun story, regardless of whether you had the $2 on the horse or not. The Monmouth also on the card yesterday at as appropriate, Monmouth. And the Monmouth was a Grade 2 event, a couple $100,000 up for grabs for 3-year-olds and up, going 1 mile and an 1/8 on the grass. It will be number 3, Money Multiplier, getting it done for Chad Brown. Chad had a couple in there. I like Projected a little bit more. Projected, the number 2 horse, runs 3rd. Divisadero, the 4, runs 2nd. In kind of a close-up finish, 3/4 of a length, a half. In the short field of 5. You could have gone either way, I guess, with the Chad horses, and I debated. I just thought Projected, coming off of that April 2nd place finish in the seasonal debut over at Aqueduct, was maybe primed to run well on Saturday afternoon. Money Multiplier, I meant to look it up. I forgot last night. I thought that trip over to Qatar for the big money race where the horse ran 3rd back in February, I thought he'd been sold to connections over there and was staying over in the Mideast, but I guess maybe that plan, and I have to double check, but I thought that was the game plan. But maybe that plan, maybe they decided with races like this sitting out there, they'd come back to the United States and go back into Chad's barn and earn some more money, and mission accomplished on the return. You never know. This, as I say, this was kind of a new race over in Qatar, but a lot of times horses who go over to Dubai come back, and the first race back, it's a little bit of a question mark. But he essentially made that same trip and comes back and wins on Saturday, so that bodes well for him, again, going into the summer with the Grass Stakes races.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Chad in the grass, we said it a little bit earlier, always have a huge shot with Chad there. But I liked Divisadero there in that race. In the stakes preview, I had that horse as well. I thought Divisadero was going to get by Money Multiplier there, and I was with you. I had the two Chads in there. I liked Projected a little bit better than Money Multiplier. So, there's really nice ride by Bravo to hang on there, because Divisadero looked like halfway through the stretch run was going to get by. But, if you get 4-1 in a 5-horse field on Chad Brown, the horse pays $10, I think that's an absolute steal. So if you had it, that's phenomenal. And the Exacta paid almost $50. So, again, if you can get $10 for Chad Brown, even on a big field, but especially in a 5-horse field, I feel like you're definitely going to make a good price or a good payday there.
And should mention the betting public went for Frostmourne, and I had that one right underneath, and that's why you got the nice value on the Exacta, which really in the 5-horse field was more value than that probably deserved. But Frostmourne took some action, and that one ran 4th in the field of 5 in there. Coming out, and I had that horse right underneath, coming out of the Maker's Mile, ran 5th there, but that's always a pretty salty race. It was behind Heart to Heart in there, and so I thought the horse would move forward off of that. Christophe Clement horse disappoints a little bit, leading most of the way around and then kind of getting swallowed up late. Again, the top 4 were all right there. And Divisadero, I'm with you. I used Divisadero in my mix. I mean, this is a horse that just has a string of triple-digit buyers underneath. But that was a pretty good performance for the seasonal debut, and so you have to think as the season progresses, we'll see that one. Yeah,
definitely be better second off that little bit of a layoff. So,
all right, let's go over to Santa Anita, because they had a very nice day too, highlighted by the Gold Cup. But we'll put that one up first because chronologically it came as the 5th race on the card. Gold Cup Grade 1 event. This is the old Hollywood Gold Cup. Without Hollywood there, though, it's now just the Gold Cup at Santa Anita. And from what I've read, it may disappear from the schedule, actually, as they juggle up and take the $500,000 and maybe use it in other directions. But it will be number 2, Accelerate, over number 5, Dr. Door. Number 4, City of Light, runs 3rd. Talked to Mike McCarthy on the show yesterday, and City of Light coming out of the Oaklawn handicap win, the Triple Bend, the Malibu, was coming in really good form, an improving string of triple-digit buyer figures. But, of course, the 1.25 miles was going to be a question mark for that one, as opposed to Accelerate, who finished 2nd to City of Light in the Oaklawn handicap previously, but the race before had won at 1.25 miles at Santa Anita in the big cap. So this was a horse with 1.25 miles experience over this track, having won the big cap back in March. So Accelerate gets it done as the 9-5 second choice. City of Light running 3rd was the 6-5 favorite, and then splitting the two. Talked about this horse a little bit yesterday with Ellis Starr, and we watched the Californian when we talked to Ellis. Dr. Door for Bob Baffert, maybe kind of an up-and-coming budding player. Sometimes it takes horses, they'll really start to mature as they get to be 4 and 5, and that maybe is the case with 5-year-old Dr. Door. Last time out, wins the Californian with a triple-digit buyer figure and follows up with a nice 2nd yesterday. So, again, this could be a little bit of a player, certainly at least out on the West Coast in the handicap division for Bob Baffert. I will say disappointment, maybe Pavel, who I thought was a good 4th in the Dubai World Cup, comes back and runs 4th yesterday in the field of 6. But Accelerate now, clearly validating the form he's shown over the Santa Anita Strip before, and also at the 1.25 mile distance.
Absolutely, and back to Pavel, I just never know what to do with Pavel. He'll run big in these big-time races where he really doesn't fit in, and then some races where should run at a nice number, a little bit of a nice price as well, where the horse should run well and fits in nicely. It just really doesn't run up to its potential. But I used Dr. Door there, and I really thought I knew it was in trouble with Accelerate there. But really nice try by Espinoza there. I think if you bet Accelerate, I think you got a little bit of help not going off as the favorite, almost getting $6 for that horse. So again, I used Dr. Door, so I'm a little disappointed to not get there, but definitely a horse to keep an eye on out west, and we'll run big next time, and I think you'll get the same value around 4-1.
Yeah, as I say, it's interesting to see that one seeming to get better as a 5-year-old, Dr. Door. Also on the card at Santa Anita, the Whittingham Grade 2 event, a couple $100,000 up for grabs, 1.25 miles on the grass. As I talked with Ellis Starr yesterday and we looked at these stakes out at Santa Anita, it just looked like it was going to be tough to get by. It's in the post, 6-5 on the morning line. It's in the post, went off at 4-5. It's in the post is the number 6 horse. Wins by a chart margin of 1.25 lengths. And again, the number 6 horse making the run here on the outside. Running second, number 5, Kenji Storm, and running third, the number 3, Frank Conversation. What a View to me was maybe a little bit interesting coming off the win in the American earlier. That one runs 4th. Flamboyant, I thought, off the win up at Golden Gate in San Francisco, and with some pretty good and kind of competitive numbers versus this bunch. The number 1, Flamboyant, I thought would run better. The betting public let that one get away at 8-1, and they knew better. Flamboyant runs 5th in the field of 6, but it's in the post. This was the 4th win in 5 starts this season. A nice, again, 6-year-old who seems to be at the top of his game right now, certainly at least on the West Coast. And it's Santa Anita now, 17 career starts on the Santa Anita turf, 9 wins, 9 out of 17 for It's in the Post. But it seemed like it was going to go through It's in the Post, and at $3.80, that's the way it worked out.
Absolutely, It's in the Post was the horse to be, and Leparoux went to the West Coast just to run It's in the Post. So I used Kenji Storm. I thought that was a really interesting horse, and I kind of knew I was in trouble there. But we got a good price in Kenji Storm. I did not think that horse ran bad at all. It's just It's in the Post was definitely the best on paper and showed it that day. And another horse that really excited to see if anyone's going to beat that horse on the Santa Anita turf again. It just seems like the horse is just a little bit out of everyone's league when it enters in on the grass at Santa Anita.
Yeah, it's certainly in good form. All right, and they wrapped things up yesterday at Santa Anita. The Grade 1 Gamely, $300,000 up for grabs for the ladies, going 9 furlongs again on the grass. Mopetism, talked to Doug O'Neill a couple of weeks ago. He said he was going to try the grass experiment over as Mopetism, the number 3 horse, runs last in the field of 7. But the winner here, number 4, Sophie P, upsets at 14-1, just barely by a nose. Madame Dancelot runs second at 4-1. At 10-1, Madame Stripes runs third. The favorite was Hawksmoor at even money. Hawksmoor disappoints, running 5th in the field of 7. And it was Arnaud Delacour. It was Julien Leparoux. And this is a horse that really, since coming over from Europe, had been in the hunt first or second far more often than not. Ran 7th in the Beverly D last August, but otherwise was always in the mix. And so the 5th place finish was certainly a disappointment, but did have some trouble at the start of the race, which clearly played into the poor performance yesterday. But a nice win for Sophie P. Should mention Uni scratched for Chad Brown.
Right.
Shipped out there, but then came down with a little bit of a bug, and so didn't make the race. But Sophie P. started the career in Europe for James, came over and now is running for James Cassidy. Ran 6th in the U.S. debut back on April 7th at Santa Anita in the stakes race. But with that European form, that came through yesterday at, again, a nice little 14-1 price.
Really nice price, 14-1 there. And with the scratch of Chad in that race, really, I thought it was wide open there. I used Hawksmoor as well as soon as I saw the scratch. Just, as you said, pretty disappointing by Hawksmoor there. But, obviously the intentions were to do what they did with Lady Eli, the connections of Chad, just go in there, win, and get out of California. But unfortunate the horse couldn't go. Really nice ride by Sophie Pete. The wise guy horse I used was Corey Nakatani and Madame Dance a lot. So I thought that horse ran extremely well. And you were getting a nice price there as well. But the Exacta, it came back $150-something. But with Chad and Uni scratching, it's definitely made the race a little bit more open.
Yeah, so a little bit of an upset there, winding up the stakes action out at Santa Anita. Again, nice stakes cards across the country, Monmouth, Santa Anita, and again, the Paradise Creek with Guido in New York. So some horses to watch as the summer progresses, and hopefully we'll give you some horses to watch for this afternoon. We'll take a break and give you some ideas, both at Woodbine and Belmont on this Sunday afternoon. Belmont, according to the Mark Hennig, trainer Mark Hennig Twitter account, Belmont off the turf for this afternoon. So I'll take a look at a couple of dirt races and then a turf race where I hope I've guessed right as to the horses that stick in. But we'll do that all right after this break. Stay tuned. Come back in a couple.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Sign up today for Capital OTB's handicapping series and plan your trip to Las Vegas.
In a recent study of some of the top online wagering sites, Capital OTB won big in total player rewards, far surpassing some of the best-known wagering sites in America. While other rewards programs simply offer you points redeemable for gift cards, Capital OTB's rebates are paid to you in actual cash. Plus, Capital OTB gives you full and immediate access to your money. So if all you're getting now are points and gift cards, join Capital OTB Player Rewards today and get cash back. Visit CapitalOTBBet.com and sign up today.
Funding your Capital OTB bet account is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Easy Money. Clearly the fastest and easiest method of depositing funds into your account. Make deposits or withdrawals in just minutes. 2. Green Dot Money Pack. Gives you instant access to your funds. Green Dot Money Packs are available at thousands of retailers nationwide. And 3. MasterCard Visa. Simply click on the link from the funding page, enter your account information, and fund your account. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. Seth Merrow, Sully Karate, thanks for joining us. Let's jump in and take a look at some of the action for this afternoon, see if we can give you some pertinent ideas that will help you cash some tickets. Sully's going to kick things off, taking a look at Race 7 at Woodbine this afternoon. An allowance, non-winners have won other than a mile and a 16th. Your thoughts in Woodbine 7th?
A really nice card this afternoon at Woodbine, but in Race 7 I went 4-3. 5 and 7. Number 4 on top, that's Arthur's Pass. 5-2, Alan Garcia is up. He's really picked it up his riding a little bit. He had a slow start, but really, since then, really has made an impact in every race he's been in. So we're going to use that horse on top. Not really discouraged, a 3 for 31 lifetime. A lot of those seconds arguably could have been wins, including last time out, and 4 starts back. This horse has been riding extremely well since that 4th place finish and the trainer switch. So I think this horse you're getting a really nice price at 5-2, and the horse really has improved since switching the trainer, since getting claimed. Second spot with number 3, that's Looking at Bravos. 6-1 on the morning line. Kevin Attard trains the horse. He's had a nice meet running in the money, and I think this is just a nice play to use underneath. We've been seeing the last couple days some of these horses from a stalking roll closing, and this is one of those horses that likes to do that. It likes to sit 4 or 5 lengths off and really just get a little piece of the money. I think this horse, you know, with slow fractions, I think it might be tough, but there's an abundance of speed in this race that really will set up a nice spot for the number 3 Looking at Bravo, and then number 5 in the 3rd spot. 3-1 on the morning line. Going to probably be the lukewarm betting favorite by the time the race goes off. Really nice races, 2 and 3 back. Last time I went to Stakes Company, really didn't. I thought it ran an okay 5th there at 4-1. You're getting a nice price on the morning line at 3-1, but I think we'll get bet down to probably a lukewarm favorite in this allowance field. It's going to run back in the allowance company after losing 2 starts back as the favorite. Really nice effort there, though, from a stalking roll. So in race number 7 at Woodbine, I went 4-3, 5 and 7. Seth's going to look at Belmont Park to start out with race number 2 at Belmont. This is a maiden claimer. This is for fillies and mares, 3 and up, going 1 mile on the main track.
And again, the Mark Hennig Twitter feed said off the turf, and I just checked Dave Grenig also, so I'm assuming if those two guys are saying it, it is true. And so I juggled up here, and I am not thrilled about the races I've selected. I just wanted to pick a couple that were on the dirt, just so we wouldn't have to deal with scratches. And I'm going to look at the 9th race, which was scheduled on the turf, and we'll hope that I have the crystal ball right as to horses that will continue to run. But again, this second at Belmont, I'm not super thrilled with. But I went 4, 5, 3, and 1. The number 4 is Stop Thinking. It's a weak field. I mean, we're looking at buyer numbers in the mid-30s, maybe topping out at 40. And they're all, 4 of them, the horses that I'm using, are all right there. So you could go in any direction. I wound up on the 6-5 favorite, just because 6-5 morning line favorite, just because Danny Gargan, one of the Ortiz brothers, and the horse is lightly raced. These others have had plenty of opportunities. So we have a horse that the career debut on the turf was a pretty good number, then moved to the dirt and ran an okay 3rd with a number going in the wrong direction, but it's still stuck with this bunch. But that was over a sloppy sealed track. I'm not sure what we will get today down at Belmont, but obviously has proven over that surface if it does turn out to have some moisture. Again, I think you could make a case for any of the 4 I've used in here. I tilt slightly in favor of Stop Thinking just because this one has had less opportunity, so maybe there's still some upside potential there. Megalopsychia, the number 5 horse, 9-5 on the morning line, and has some decent numbers over the past few starts. They were all 3rd place finishes, so a little bit of life. Same situation with Little Nanny. So again, I don't jump in with a whole lot of confidence in here, just because I think you could make the same cases for and against just about all of them, but I'll stick with the more lightly raced horse, as I say, with the potential to have some more upside. So in the second at Belmont, 4, 5, 3, and 1. Stakes action up at Woodbine today in race number 8, the Nassau, a grade 2 event for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward in the Nassau at Woodbine. They're scheduled to travel a mile on the turf.
3, 4, 7, and 2 here for me. Number 3 is Ghostly Present. Roger Atfield trains the horse. Really nice meet for Roger so far. He's got 4 wins and 7 starts. He's running the money 6 of 7 times, so definitely make the most of his starts.
He's
here.
better. I'm
right?
updating your stats. You probably printed it a day before I did.
Right.
He's now 5 for 9 and 8 in the exacta. 8 for 9 in the exacta, so that's not bad.
No, definitely a nice horse to use here for a red-hot trainer up at Woodbine. So this horse is definitely going to have a nice closing kick from a stalking run. We saw that 2, 3, and 4 starts back last time out. Willing to give a pass for that performance there. That's just a tough situation. Even though it's going 2 turns at Gulfstream Park, sometimes the 7.5 furlongs, the 2 turn just really isn't long enough for some of these horses. So did win 2 starts back at a nice price at Gulfstream Park in a stakes race. I think fits in nicely here. Going back to Woodbine, where you get a really nice trainer, and the horse does have experience over the turf track. Second spot, I went with number 4. That's Starship Jubilee. Definitely the horse to beat on paper. 3 times in the money in 4 starts with 2 wins. This horse has been solid the last 6 or 7 starts. Did run a 5th in a grade 2, but won at Woodbine. Is the defending champion actually of this race at Woodbine. Won this race last year pretty convincingly at a really nice 10-1 price. You won't get anything near that price today because 6-5 on the morning line. But horse that really should have won last time out has been the favorite the last 3 times. I think just try to beat this horse. Let's see if we can get a better priced horse on top of this speed horse in Starship Jubilee. And then number 7 in the third spot, that's Grizzle, 5-1 on the morning line. Another horse that seems to be improving a little bit, willing to throw out that grade 3 6th place finish last time out, even though that really was not a bad performance. Definitely a better performance when you watch the replay of that race. But I think the mile distance is perfect for this horse. Tried to go in a mile and an eighth at Woodbine, didn't run too well. Went to South Florida at the championship meet, ran in a stakes race there, came in second at a nice price behind a really nice horse in Team of Teams. So in the 8th race, the feature at Woodbine Sunday afternoon, I went 3, 4, 7, and 2.
Roger Hatfield, 8 for 9 in the exacta. That's amazing. I wonder if that other horse has been banished.
Right. That's
You can't hit the exacta, you're done.
Definitely a good start for Roger there. Wish him the best of luck as well. So that's going to move to race number 5 at Belmont Park. This is an allowance optional claimer. This is for fillies and mares. 3 and up, a nice state bred race. They're going 6.5 furlongs.
And again, it's a field of 5, but I wanted to stick with races on the dirt if I could. The more attractive races today were the ones that were scheduled for the turf. They're off, so I wound up here 5, 4, 2, and 3. Lady Bergen on top. Clearly, a short price on the morning line. Will go off as a short price. I don't think this horse, if things diverge odds-wise, as it seems like lately they do. Betting public hops on some of these favorites, and they're the most likely winners, but just they're not 2-5 or 3-5 kind of horses. And so if the odds diverge, Ms. and Max, I think off the last effort, is kind of right in the ballpark of Lady Bergen. Lady Bergen, again, on the numbers, the early speed, nicely positioned outside. The one to beat, but Ms. and Max off the Belmont race back at the end of April certainly is solid and competitive, and then Hayfield in the mix as well. I think Hayfield probably has to step it up a little bit, but the top two are pretty similar. 7-5 and 2-1 on the morning line. As I say, if those start to diverge, you can take an extra look at Mizzen Mast and try to find some potential value there. But it does go through, it looks like, Lady Bergen. In the 5th race, 5, 4, 2, and 3. Race number 9 at Woodbine this afternoon. We'll wrap things. No, there's actually a 10th race today. So the penultimate race at Woodbine this afternoon. Maiden special event. These are fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. In the 9th at Woodbine, they will go 3/4 of a mile.
Yeah, I went 4, 3, 5, and 6 here. Number 4, nice price at 10-1. That's a brand new game, and I think going back to the sprint is going to be beneficial for this horse. This horse tried going a route distance at Keeneland. That's just a tough ass to break any maiden there at Keeneland. It's a really competitive meet there. And this horse, before going to Keeneland off that long layoff since August, we haven't seen at Woodbine. Also ran on the grass there sprinting. So this horse definitely wants to sprint. I think the synthetic is the right move for this horse. First time on the synthetic. The training connections are winning 13%, and obviously going from the turf to the synthetic, they're winning 12% of those races. So you're getting a nice value here that from a horse that really likes sprinting. It's going to be a little bit fresher off that long layoff after running in a very competitive maiden special weight at Keeneland. Number 3 in the 2nd spot, definitely the horse to beat. 2-1 on the morning line. This horse should have won last time out, should have broke that maiden, just really could not get to the wire, got passed late in that race, just really couldn't get by the leader. Was sitting a nice trip the whole way, sprinting. I think the stretch out will help this horse as well. 2-1 on the morning line. I think the horse is beatable, but that being said, should not even be in this race, should have won last time out. And then number 5 in the 3rd spot. First-time starter for Catherine Day Phillips. She's had a nice start to her meet as well. She's winning 40% of her first-time starters, so and also 22% of her first-time sprints. This horse is 6-1 on the morning line and really has been working well at Woodbine. I would like to see the horse get a little bit of a stalking roll. There is some other speed in this race with number 4, but this horse should sit right off the lead, right next to the favorite in this spot. You're getting a nice price for the first-time starter for Catherine Day Phillips, who's had a nice meet and a nice 2018 as well. In the 9th race at Woodbine, I went 4, 3, 5, and 6. Race number 9 at Belmont Park. This is a maiden claimer, another state-bred maiden claimer. This is for 3-year-olds and up. going 7 furlongs, hopefully off the grass here, though.
Yeah, and so I'm going to give you my dirt picks. And again, a little bit of a crystal ball. I've tried to pull up a couple of times while we've been here. The scratches, they're not up yet. So we'll see. But I have a 2, 11, 14, and 13. 14 and 13 are MTOs. You would assume they will stick, although that sometimes is surprising that MTOs scratch out of these situations. But the 2 and the 11 were in the body of the field, so we'll see. If they stay in, certainly the 2 to me is interesting. 5-2 on the morning line on the grass. But by Desert Party, this horse is making his second career start. A couple of days ago when I was in with the bankroll, there was a Desert Party runner that I liked and used in a play out here as we were playing the bankroll on Friday afternoon, and ran a pretty good, I think, second at a decent price. And I said, Desert Party to me is a sire who floats a little bit under the radar for win early types. Last year, Desert Party, 40 first-time starters, 4 wins, 2 seconds, 7 thirds. So 13 times in the money in 40 starts, about 1 for 3 with first-time starters. The interesting thing, virtually all of those were on the dirt. There was one of those that was a synthetic horse. So this horse ran pretty well on the turf in the career debut. But again, with some win early breeding and given the sire maybe a little bit better on the dirt, if they stick in with this horse, Mike Maker, Kenneth Sayre Ramsey, they had the blinkers today. This horse could be really interesting at maybe a better price than that 5-2 that we were anticipating on the turf. Although this is a weak field, and if they do decide to stay in, it won't surprise me if the betting public is still tilting in that direction a little more. I'd feel better if we were getting some good value, and that's not guaranteed. But also, we have to keep our fingers crossed the horse stays in. Tammany Giant, similar situation. This horse improved nicely in the second turf start of the career. Maybe this horse is a little better on the turf, but maybe that last one just signals some good form, because I'll tell you, underneath, there were some decent turf dirt races. Back in December and January at Aqueduct, a couple of numbers fired that stack up pretty well with this bunch. And with the number of dirt starts underneath, it won't shock me if they stick in. So I have a couple of horses in the body of the field that I will use on top if they stay with the move to dirt, and then out to the MTO horses. And I went with the fresh face from Gary Gullo with Ragnar Lothbrok. I'm wondering, is that like Game of Thrones or something? I'm not a Game of Thrones person, but that has the sound of that potential. And then Carmine's Honor, just again, getting the surface they were shopping for. So the Belmont 9th, again, we have to see what the scratches play out to be, but I have a 2, 11, 14, and 13. All right, bring us to the end of the show, but before we go, want to update you on promos and events coming up. First, a programming note, the nice holiday tomorrow, meaning nice racing across the country, and I will be in with a special edition of OTB Live tomorrow afternoon, taking a look at the tracks that we will be watching on the Memorial Day holiday, and Belmont, of course, will be one of those. So nice Memorial Day action that will continue into the evening, as we will be taking nighttime thoroughbred racing tomorrow night on the Memorial Day holiday. So keep that in mind. Thoroughbreds all day and night here at Capital OTB tomorrow, Memorial Day. Also here at the Clubhouse Racebook, NYRA Pick 4, a match bet promo. That's all right here at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany tomorrow, Monday. Coming up on Thursday, a $100 NYRA Pick 5 online bankroll. Go to the website for more info on how you can participate. That's Thursday. Thursday also a fan appreciation day at Smokey Joe's. If you're a patron there, swing on by. Kicking off at about 1 o'clock on Thursday up in Lake George. Love to see you there so we can say thank you to you for your patronage. Don't forget, 2 weeks from yesterday, Belmont Stakes Day. Love to see you down here at the Clubhouse Racebook, because it's always fun when there's a big crowd on hand. And you can reserve a seat at a table of Carol by spending $5. And along with that $5, you get admission to the clubhouse, your seat, and a commemorative $1 bet on Justify in the Belmont Stakes, plus a free Belmont Stakes commemorative glass. Swing by the clubhouse to reserve your seat for the Belmont Stakes, or give us a call, 438-0127. Again, love to see you here at the Clubhouse Racebook on Belmont Stakes Day, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. Don't forget, Bet 50, Get 50 continues through the month of May. Just a few days left, but plenty of time to bet $50. Sign up for a new account, bet 50 in before the end of the month, and Capital OTB will put a fresh $50 into your brand new Capital OTB Bets account. Thanks to our friends at Woodbine for their sponsorship. Woodbine, pick, bet, and cheer on great racing north of the border. Seth Merrill, Sully Karate. Sully, as always, appreciate the visit, and good luck this afternoon.
And good luck to you, Seth.
Good luck to all of you as well. I'll be back in about a couple hours with OTB Live for Sunday afternoon. See you then.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.